Hi friends, I'm Parviz, and in this video I'm going to show you that how we can build a simple web browser using Python with PyQt5. Now the first thing is, as I have said, that we are using PyQt5 library, and the first thing is that we need to install PyQt5. So for that you can just use pip install PyQt5 and it will be installed. Now you can see that this is the latest release for PyQt5. Now if you're using PyQt6, now for right now, as I'm recording this video, for this version of PyQt6 we cannot use PyQtWebEngine module, because for creating a simple web browser we are going to use PyQtWebEngine. But for right now there are some modules are missing in this PyQt6, and they have announced that in the version of 6.2 there will be added some missing modules like PyQtWebEngine and also PyQt Multimedia. So don't worry, there's no problem, and this code will work for PyQt6 also. But for right now we are using PyQt5 because there are some missing modules. For example, PyQtWebEngine, we need to use this for creating our simple web browser, and for right now this PyQtWebEngine is not available in 6.1, and it will be available on the newest release of PyQt6. Now, so first you need to install PyQt5, and after installation of this you need to install PyQtWebEngine, and you can just use pip install PyQtWebEngine. Now after that I'm using PyCharm ID. The first thing is that we need to import. I've already created a simple Python file, so I'm going to just import. I can just say import sys. And also we need to, first we are going to create our simple window in PyQt5. So from PyQt5.qt widgets we are going to import Q main window, and also we are going to just use Q application. So for right now we are going to just import these, and now let's create our class. I'm going to just call it class window. Now this class window extends from Q main window like this. And now let me just create my init method in here, so init, and after that I can just say super and dot init like this. Now let's just now, as I've already, if you have watched my PyQt5 lessons, PyQt lessons, now when you're building GUI applications using PyQt, the first thing is that you need to create the object of Q application. So we can just say app Q application, and in here you can pass sys.argv. Now if you're using command line utility, then you can just pass sys.argv. But if you're not using any command line utility, you can just leave it like a blank list. So we're going to just make it like this. So you can just say app, and let me just ignore mirror like this. Okay. And after doing this, we need to create the object of our this window class that we have created. So we can just say window, and after that we need to show our window. So we can just say window.show like this. And now we can just start our loop. So sys.exit, and we can just say app.execute like this. Okay. Now you can see that in here we are using app.execute, but in PyQt6 you need to make it like this, app.execute. But because we are using PyQt5, then we can just make it like this. Now if I run this, and you can see that I have a simple window in here, but we don't have anything right now. Now I want to set, for example, I want to add icon, I want to add a geometry for my window. So for that, because I'm extending from Q main window module, Q main window class, now I can access to all methods and attributes of this Q main window. For example, I can just say self.setWindowTitle, and in here I can give my title. For example, I can just give it Py browser, and I can set an icon for this. So I can just say self.setWindowIcon. Now for that we need to import another class from Qt GUI module. So we can just say from PyQt5.Qt GUI we are going to import QIcon, and in here we can just say QIcon, and you need to add the icon name in here. So for right now I have already added some icons in this folder, so I have some icons in here, and I'm going to just use one icon from there. So I can just say icons, and the name of my icon is python.png. So now if I run this again, so you can see that now I have an icon, but we are not seeing the window title because the window is so small. Now we can add a geometry for this window, so I can just say cell.set geometry. So geometry, you need to give the x and y position. So for example, I can just give it 200 by 200, and after that I can just give it the width and height of the window, for example 900 by 600. So now if I run this, now you can see that I have my browser title in here, and I have given this, and I have my window in this section. Now I want to add some buttons for my simple browser. For example, I want a back button, forward button, a home button, a search button, and also line edit for adding the URL or address. So for that we need to create a toolbar, and first of all we need to import the Q toolbar. So we can just import that from the widgets, from the PyQtWidgets module, and now in here we can just say toolbar and Q toolbar, and after creating of the toolbar object, now we can just add the toolbar to the main window. So there's a method called add toolbar in the Q main window class, so we can just use that. So we can say self.add toolbar, and in here we can just add our toolbar like this. Now after adding the toolbar, we need to create our button. So first I want to create my back button, so I can just say self.back button. I can just make it like this, back button, and we need to import Q push button in here. So we can just say Q push button, and it's related to PyQtWidgets module, and using Q push button we can create buttons. So now in here we can just say Q push button, and in here you can give the title. So for example for the button, but I'm not using the title, I want to add some icons for the Q push button. So for that now I can set icon for the button. So I can just say self.back button dot set icon. So you can use set icon. Now set icon expects a Q icon, so for that we need to import. So now it's imported. You can import that from Qt GUI. So from PyQt5.Qt GUI you need to import Q icon, but it's automatically imported in PyCharm. So I can just say Q icon, and after that you need to give your icon. So I have already added icons in my icons folder, and I can just give the name of the icon. So it is back.png. Now if you see my folder, I have icons in here, that's back.png, and I'm using that icon. Now after doing this, we need to add this button to the toolbar. So we can just say toolbar.add widget, and we can just use self.back button like this. Okay, so now if I run this, you will see, okay, now you can see I have a button in here with the icon of back. Now what I want to do is to add size for this icon. So for the icon button, so I can just say self.back button, and I can just say set icon size, and for this we need to use QSize class from the Qt core module. So we can just say from PyQt5.Qt core we are going to import QSize class. Now in here we can just say QSize, and I want to give it for example 36, and it will be good. Now if I run this, and you can see now it's looking much better. Now we can copy this, and we can add some more buttons in here, and I'm going to just copy this because I don't want to write all of the codes again and again, because I have already described this. Now I want to create a forward button, and this should be a Q push button, and I can just make it like this, and I'm going to use forward.png. Let's remove this .png, and forward, and forward, and if we run this, we have another button in here also. Now in between of these two, I'm going to just add another button that should be, for example, reload button, or we can call it. So I can just say reload button, and let's just paste like this, and let's change this to reload.png like this. So we can copy this once more. So we have back, forward, reload. Also we need to just add another one for the home button, so we can just say home button and change the icons to the home.png and home button and home button. And also we need to create a line edit, because we need to add, for example, www.google.com, and we want to search for that. So for that we need to import QLineEdit class from PyQtWidgets module, so QLineEdit. And after importing of the QLineEdit, now we can create that. So I can just say self.authoros line edit and QLineEdit. And now we can just add a font for this line edit, so self.address line edit dot set font, and we need to import QFont from the Qt GUI module, so we can just say QFont, and now in here we can use that, so you can just say QFont, and you can give the type of the font, for example sans serif, and also I can just give it, for example, 18. And we can add this to the toolbar, so toolbar.add widget, and that should be self.address line edit. So now let's just run this, and now you can see we have these buttons, and also we have a line edit that we can just write on that. After doing this, let's create also one more button for searching. So I can just copy this button and I can just add it in here, and I want to change this to, for example, search button. You can copy this, so search button, search button, search button, change this to search, and if I run this, and now you can see that this is our simple design for the web browser. And now let's create our more functionality. Now let's create our web engine view. So as I have already said that we are going to use PyQtWebEngine. So as I have already said that we need to install that. Now first we need to import our QtWebEngine widgets. Now and here I can just say from PyQt5.QtWeb. So we are going to use QtWebEngine widgets. So from this we want to import QWebEngine page, so QWebEngine page, and also we're going to use QWebEngine view, so QWebEngine view like this. Okay, now let's create that in here, and I can just say self.webEngine view, and we can just say QWebEngine view. And after doing this, we need to make this set to add this to our window. So there is a method called setCentralWidget, and that's related to QMainWindow class. We are going to use that. So we can just say self.setCentralWidget, and we want to use self.webEngine view as the central widget of the window. So I can just say web engine view. Now after doing this, we need to add an initial URL for that. Initial URL, and for the initial URL I'm going to just give, for example, https google.com. Now we can add this initial URL to the line edit that we have created. So self dot address line edit dot set text, and I want to set the initial URL. Also now we need to load this, and I can just say self dot WebEngine view, and there is a load method, and for this we need to add a QURL. First we need to import QURL, and it's related to Qt core, so QURL, and after that and here we can just say QURL, so QURL, and we can just add our initial URL like this. Now if I run this, I should see this google.com. Now let me just run this, and now I'm waiting for this. Okay, now you can see that we are seeing google.com, and in here I can write, for example, Python, and I can search that. Now let's work on these buttons. So first I want to work on the search button. So for example, if I change this to another URL, and if I click on the search button, I should see that website or URL. So for that, and here we can just create our search button. So I can just say div, I can call it search button, and the first thing is that we need to get the URL for the line edit. So we can just say my URL like this, and self.address line edit dot text. So you can use text for getting the text from the line edit, and after that we can set this text to the WebEngine view. So I can just say self, we can load that, so we can just say self dot WebEngine view dot load, and now we can add our, so for this we need to use QURL, and after that we can just add this my URL. Now after creating of the search button, now we need to connect this, so we can call this as a method or a slot. Now we need to connect this with the clicked signal of the push button. Now we have a clicked signal that's related to QPush button, and we need to connect our method to that. So, and where is search button? It's in here, and we can just say self dot search button dot, so we can just use clicked and dot connect, and we can connect that with the search between. Okay, so now let's just run this, and so make sure that you are connected to the internet. Now if I run this again, google.com, now I can change this to, for example, another website, so like this, geekscholars.com. This is my website, and if I search this, and now you can see that I'm on the geekscholars.com, I am on the another website. So like this, you can see that the search button is working. Now let's work on the back button and also forward button. So for that we need to create another method in here, and I can just call it div, for example, back btn. And here there's a back method in the WebEngine view, so we can just use that. I can just say self.WebEngine view dot back, and let's create another one. So div forward btn, and for that we can just use self.WebEngine view dot forward like this. Now let's connect these with these methods with the respective buttons. So we have forward and we have back button. So in here we can just say self dot back button dot clicked dot connect. So we're using clicked signal, and we can just say self dot back btn. We can do this for the in here for the forward. So self dot forward button dot clicked and dot connect. self.forward. It's not select, but it is self.forward btn. So now we can run this, and I'm on the google.com, and let's change this to, for example, geekscoders.com, and I can search this. So now in here, now I can go back and I can forward this. So right now you can see that we are searching using this button, but for example, I want when I hit enter I should also search the website. So for that there's a signal for the line edit that we need to connect that. And so let me just find the line edit in here. Where is it? Okay, now address line edit, and in here I can just say self.address line edit dot return pressed. So return pressed. Now this is a signal for the line edit, and we can connect this with a search method that we have already created. So if you see in here, we have a search method in this section and search button, and we need to connect that with this. So line edit, and in here we can just say self.search btn. And now if I run this, so now initially it will load the google.com. Now if I just go to the, for example, geekscoders.com, and in here if I hit enter, you will see that now you can see that I'm in here in this website. Now let's just work on the reload button and reload and also home buttons. So diff reload btn, and also there is a reload method in the web engine view, so we can just use that self.webengineview.reload. And for the home, it's so simple, and we can just set that to the, for example, google.com. We can just say diff home btn, and we can just say self.webengineview.load. We need to use QURL, and in here we can just say https, for example, google.com, like this. Now let's connect this reload button and also home button. We have home button, and in here we can just say self.home button dot clicked dot connect, and we can just connect this with the not select, but it's self dot home btn. And also we have the reload in here, so we can just say self dot reload button dot clicked dot connect self dot reload btn. Now let's just run this, and so we have our google.com, and if I click on this, you can see that it's reloading, but we are not seeing. You can see that it's reloading. And if I go to the, for example, geekscoders.com, and if I click on the home, now you can see that I am on the home. Now I can just click on this again, so now I'm in here. I can just for example forward it, and like this, like it's working.